tell from the title, 5 Pillars of Islam, irony right there. Yeah, basically the whole idea of the 5 Pillars of Islam is that, like in like a ancient Roman, Grecian kind of building, you know, where they've got the pillars, it supports the foundations and the building. That's basically what the 5 pillars are supposed to do for Islam. We're very metaphorical, us Muslims. Yep. The first one is Shahada. It's arguably the most important of the entire lot. It's basically the belief that there is no God but God, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his messenger. In Arabic, that is La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. What I just said. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. The second pillar of Islam, I'm going to say it's Salmi, which is the Arabic or proper way of saying Ramadan. Now, Ramadan is a holy month in Islam. It's really important because during Ramadan, some people say on the 27th, there are different variations on the exact date, but generally it's accepted that on the 27th of Ramadan, the Quran, the holy book of Islam, was finally completed. So the last like ayats and chapters of it were brought down to earth by an angel, Gabriel or Jibreel, if you're doing it from a Muslim perspective. Anyway, during Ramadan, Muslims fast during daylight hours. That basically means that you don't eat or drink during daylight hours. Okay? It sounds very difficult, but I think most people just kind of like get used to it, and it's not really that big a deal in the end. The reason we do it is supposedly, well, not supposedly, it actually does quite work. If you abstain from something and then you get it back again, you appreciate it more, and you can understand like how people who don't have that feel. Like, for example, whilst we're fasting, like at the end of the fast, because you know you haven't had water, you haven't been able to eat or anything like that, when you sit down when you're breaking the fast and you like take a drink of water or whatever, it just feels like you just feel, oh, that's really refreshing, and you just you appreciate it so much more than you would if you weren't fasting. And also it gives us a greater appreciation for our family, because that's the one time of year like we all get together and we all make sure like we see each other and stuff, because unfortunately my family, we're quite widespread across the UK, so we don't always get to see each other, but Ramadan's the one time that we do get to see each other, so it's just a really nice time. And obviously it helps us to remember like that there are unfortunate people out in the world who unfortunately don't have food and water every day, and it just makes you remember that. And a lot of people, it reflects on the whole point of Ramadan. A lot of people during Ramadan, they give a lot of charity. I know in London they have big dinners for like homeless people and stuff like that, so, you know, just to help them as much as they can. So cool, that's Ramadan. Okay, pillar of Islam number 3. Okay, Salah. This is the Arabic word for praying. Some of you might be aware of the fact that us Muslims, we like to pray a lot, 5 times a day in fact. There's one early in the morning, and that's called Fajr. It's usually before sunset, at least half an hour before sunset. So you do the prayer there. It's really quite short. That one's the shortest prayer there is. The second one is Zuhur. It's in like midday, kind of like lunchtime kind of time. After that there's A.S.R., and then at sunset there's another one called Maghrib, and then fairly late-ish in the evening, depending whether it's summer or winter, there's a final prayer called Isha. 5 of them altogether, as I said. Basically, each prayer is broken up into little units called rakats, and each unit, they're made up of different prayers and different movements. You might be able to see that a little bit later on. Yeah, so that's basically what it is. Sometimes during Ramadan, extra ones are added on. Different sects of Islam, they have different lengths of prayers. I know Shia Muslims, possibly Shia Muslims, a type of Muslim, doesn't do a wajib at the end of Isha, whereas Sunni Muslims do that, so there's variation in it. Cool. Okay, pillar number 4, zakat. Basically, zakat, a Christian kind of parallel to that might be alms, giving of alms. That's basically giving of charity to poor people, people who are like less well off than yourself. A lot of people, Muslims, tend to give zakat to people in poorer countries such as Africa, India, Somalia. So Somalia is in Africa, which is actually a continent, but you know, we'll deal with that. I know my family, because my mum and dad were born and brought up in Bangladesh. Some of the like villages and stuff that they like grew up around, went to, they're very like poor because of like floods and stuff like that, because Bangladesh is prone to natural hazards such as floods and cyclones, etc. But yeah, so they often give their zakat, which is actually a compulsory thing in Islam. It's 1.7% of your annual income. It goes to a charity. My mum and dad give theirs to Bangladesh. If you've got certain amounts of gold that you don't always wear, so like if you've got like 24 carats of random bits of gold that you just have in your closet for random reasons and it's just there and it's not doing anything, then you'd have to give a small portion of that to charity, not the gold, but you do the gold equivalent in money. I think it's a really good way to, you know, just give back to the community, because if you, let's face it, we're living in a materialistic world where we've got a lot more than we need, so if we've got it to spare, then why not give it away? The whole idea of zakat is to cure your greed and to help you see, similarly to Ramadan, but there are a lot of people in the world who don't have what you have, and you should be grateful for what you do have, and you should try your very best to help other people who don't have what you have. Okay, pillar of Islam number 5. Okay, this is called Hajj. It is the pilgrimage that many thousands of Muslims partake in every year. Basically what happens is during Eid which is the ritual sacrifice type of thing that happens, it's derived from Ibrahim and his son, and how they were willing to kill themselves for God, and it's all very nice. But yeah, but it's in Saudi Arabia, in the holy city of Mecca. Some people call it Mecca, but I like to call it Mecca because I'm a Puritan. Yes. Yeah, but basically, people pilgrimage from all around the world. They travel to Mecca. It's about the actual Mecca is about 7 days, but people generally stay for around 2 months because they like to do other stuff and like tour like holy sites and stuff. Basically, what happens there's a little box. Well, not little, it's actually quite massive. It's called the Kaaba. That's said to have been there from a non-Muslim point of view. It's supposed to have been there for absolute years, and it was a little stone, like a tiny little stone in Mecca at the time, which was full of idols. However, once Islam rose and dominated Saudi Arabia, it became this huge black box, basically, and it's often referred to as the House of Allah, but literally it's not the House of Allah. I mean, Allah doesn't like live in there with like pets and stuff. That's just not what happens. But yeah, it's a box, and during the pilgrimage of Hajj, people go around it 7 times, and there's a prayer that accompanies it. After that, they go to a place called Mina, which is on the way from Mecca to Medina, and they stone representations of the devil, basically. It's not, I say representations, it's these 3 large pits. There's just nothing inside them. They're like empty wells kind of thing, and people throw stones in them, and it's supposed to like represent the beating of the devil, because the devil's really bad. So yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, so we do that. Sleep outside in the stars. Some people they climb Mount Hira. I don't know if you know this, but Mount Hira is where the Prophet Muhammad was when the angel Jibreel or Gabriel came to him and gave him the first ayat of the Quran. That's really important because that's basically, that is the starting point of Islam. That's where it happened, and a lot of people climb up there and go there to have a look at it and just for it. It's also a really nice place to just, be part of the community.